You don't lose arguments because the other person is smarter than you. Most of the time, you're actually right. You lose because the moment someone pushes back, you stop arguing the point and start defending yourself. Your chest gets tight. Your voice changes. You start talking faster, piling words on top of words, trying to make them get it. You walk away thinking, they're just dumb, they don't listen. From the outside, it looks different. It looks like you can't handle being challenged. Most men think the problem is simple. They think, if people would just listen, if they would just understand me, I wouldn't get this heated. They blame the misunderstanding, the disrespect, the tone, so they keep chasing the perfect explanation. Say it louder, say it slower, say it with more examples. In their mind, that's how you win. But arguments don't get decided by who has the most facts. They get decided by who stays the most solid. Once your state breaks, the content doesn't matter anymore. You think you're fighting about the situation. Everybody else is watching how you handle pressure. Here's what really happens when you get triggered. Someone takes a shot at you in front of other people. You with your boys, a few girls around, and one of them says, man, you always think you're right. Last time you said that, you were wrong as hell. They laugh. You force a smile, but you feel that sting. Your jaw locks just a bit. You lean forward. You say, nah, I wasn't wrong. You just don't remember what I said. Now you're explaining. Detail after detail. Trying to rewind the whole moment from last week just to prove you weren't the clown. You're not defending the truth there. You're defending your image. Or you're with your girl. You're serious about something. You're explaining why it bothers you. She looks at you and says, you're overreacting. It's not that serious. Most men snap right there. Your face warms up. Your heartbeat jumps. You feel misunderstood and judged at the same time. So you go in. You always say that. You don't listen. You twist what I say. Now, it's not about what happened. It's about proving you're not crazy. That's the switch. The moment the disagreement feels like a threat to who you are, you're no longer calm. You're in defense mode. Defense mode has a look to it. Your shoulders start creeping forward. Your hands move more. You interrupt before they finish. Your sentences get longer, but your point gets weaker. You think you're showing strength. From the outside, it looks like you're begging not to feel small. Most men never see themselves that way. They only feel the frustration. They don't see the performance. Look at the difference when someone doesn't take the bait. Same situation. Someone calls him out in front of people, takes a little shot, questions something he said. He doesn't rush. He doesn't chase the laugh. He doesn't talk over anyone. He lets the noise pass. Then he answers slow. 1, maybe 2 sentences. No shaking voice. No nervous smile. No, I swear to God, that's not what I meant. He's not trying to prove he's right to everyone. He's showing that even if they think he's wrong, he's still steady. That reads different. People might not agree with him, but they note something about him. He doesn't collapse under pressure. Most people don't judge you by whether you won that little back and forth. They judge you by whether you stayed in control of yourself. A man can be right and still look weak if he can't hold his reaction. And a man can be wrong and still look strong if he stays composed while being wrong. That's what stings. You can win the logic but lose the room. Because the room isn't great in your argument, the room is great in your stability. Now look at the long game. You keep reacting like this for months, for years. Without noticing, you build a certain reputation, not the one you tell yourself, not I stand on business. From the outside, it's more like he always gets heated. You gotta watch how you say things around him. Don't bring that up, he'll turn it into a whole thing. You become the guy people step lightly around, not out of respect, out of convenience. It's easier for them to keep you calm than to be honest with you. And there's another angle. Once people learn what sets you off, it becomes a button. Disagree with him in front of a girl. Question him around his family. Laugh when he's serious. You will react on schedule. They can move you without touching you. That's when pride turns into a leash. You tell yourself, I don't let anything slide. But if everything can pull you out of character, you're not unshakable. You're just easy to control. Think about what that does to your identity over time. You start telling yourself, I'm just a passionate person. I don't tolerate disrespect. But underneath all that, a quiet sentence forms. I can't handle being wrong. I can't handle being questioned. You won't say it out loud. You might not even think it in words. But your behavior shows it every time you get pulled into another pointless argument just because you felt that hit to your pride. Then the social damage stacks up. Friends stop giving you real feedback. They talk behind your back instead of to your face. Your partner stops bringing you small problems. Because everything turns big when you feel attacked. People at work nod and move on. Then wait until you're not in the room to suggest a better idea. You're out here thinking, finally they respect me. Really? They just don't want to deal with you. You haven't earned peace, you've earned distance. So what's the real shift? It's not about becoming quiet and swallowing everything. It's about changing what you protect first. Most men protect their image. A stronger man protects his composure. He decides, no argument is worth me stepping out of character. That's the rule. The topic can be serious. The stakes can be high. But his first move is not to attack. His first move is to stay centered. That kind of man feels the same way you do. His face might heat up. His heart might jump. But he doesn't obey it. He lets the other person finish. He doesn't rush to correct every word. If they twist what he said, he doesn't panic. He waits, then says, that's not what I meant. Here's what I'm actually saying. Short, calm, direct. Whether they accept it or not, he doesn't spin out. You don't need a long list of techniques. You need a few lines you live by. I don't raise my voice to prove a point. I don't explain the same thing more than twice. I don't let anyone rush my answer. I don't argue to save my pride, only to serve the truth. Those aren't tips. That's a code. And a code only means something when it costs you, when you're burning to clap back, when you want to embarrass them like they embarrass you, but you don't. You stay measured. You choose the line over the feeling. Most men want respect without restraint. They want to move wild and still be seen as solid. It doesn't work like that. The more out of control you act, the more you secretly tell people, my emotions run me. Respect might show up in your face, but trust backs away slowly. If you really want to stop losing arguments, stop chasing victory in the other person. Start chasing victory in yourself. Winning doesn't mean they finally say you're right. Winning means you walked through the fire and didn't forget who you were. You didn't beg to be understood. You didn't explode to feel big. You didn't shrink to avoid conflict. You stayed steady. Most men are scared of being wrong. They don't realize the real fear they're living with is being seen as weak. But the weakness doesn't come from being wrong. It comes from not being able to handle it. Remember this, a man who can't control his reactions will always feel disrespected because every small thing becomes an attack. A man who controls his reactions doesn't chase respect because his steadiness speaks before he does. You don't need to win every argument. You need to stop losing yourself in them.